The 6A state tournament starts tonight, and our cameras train at Centennial High School as the number 2 seeded Centennial Cougars at 6-2 welcome in the 3-5 number 7 seeded Stillwater Ponies on a beautiful fall night here in Blaine. I'm J.W. Cox alongside John Haddon, our entire North Metro TV crew. And John, excitement is always great this time of year, and it's always at a fever pitch. And you've got a team on a 4-game win streak, and the Centennial Cougars rolling into this first-round matchup.
Rolling on both sides of the ball, but I'm most excited about the defense for this team. The way they've held down their last few opponents has been spectacular, and defense wins championships. Maybe a little obvious, it's been said before, but it's worked for the Centennial Cougars this season.
The path to a potential championship, or at least the first few steps of that, involves going through a bracket where the number 1 seed is anchored by the Wayzata Trojans. They'll take on Egan tonight, Eastridge and Osseo, the 4-5 matchup, Edina and Eastview. Talk a little more about rematches. Could have one in the second round. Edina and Eastview, Stillwater and Centennial here tonight. Of course, those two teams met in the first week of this 2019 season. This game itself, a rematch from 2 years ago, almost to the day, October the 27th of 2017. The Centennial Cougars, in a full-fledged snowstorm here at home, would end up getting the big victory over Stillwater. Ryan Koob was the driving force of the offense back that year, and he did it with a couple of scores on the ground. Got a little help from Sam Bonfy, his running back, and a whole lot of help to hold down the Stillwater Ponies from the defense. Some opportunistic takeaways, big-time stops. It was a ways into that game before Stillwater even picked up a first down. The Cougars dominating from start to finish. We're up 30-0 in the fourth quarter. Part of that 30-0 capped off here by a Trey Driscoll 85-yard scamper through the snow drifts up the sideline. He's gone, and that nailed it down for the Cougars to pick up the victory. They give up a couple of late touchdowns to Stillwater, but that one was decided early, and the Cougars hoping to do that again. Connor Zulk will be the guy who runs the offense. He kicked 2 extra points in that game, John. He's going to have a much bigger impact today if things go well for the Cougars.
Well, he's had a huge impact all season. He's been a spectacular player to watch in running this offense. A lot of decisions fall on the quarterback in the Centennial Cougars offensive set. He has made the right decisions, it seems like, time and time again. He knows when to go to the air. He's got a good arm, although that is not their bread and butter. They mostly keep it on the ground. He's got the option to keep it with himself or to give it to others, and it seems like both have worked throughout the season.
And he's going to be highly motivated. Remember, he was not playing at this point in the year last year because of his injury when the Cougars bowed out early in this tournament. Casey Vensky hoping to keep the Stillwater Ponies from bowing out again early in this tournament. And if they find success, John, against this defense, it's got to be through the air, and Vensky would be at the heart of that. He had a season-high 211 through the air in his last game.
And it's good that he was out for that last game because he was out of action against Cretin-Durham Hall just the week before. So he's got himself back into a groove, a very good one, as you said, by the numbers. And the Stillwater Ponies are likely going to need his arm tonight against the Centennial Cougars.
And the Cougar defense, though, it has been tough to come by yardage, points, success. And that's very good teams that have run up against a very good Cougar defense, including St. Michael Albertville a couple of weeks ago. Less than 2 touchdowns a game, John, allowed by this defense in their last 4 games.
10.5 points per game allowed by a defense is a fantastic number. You see just over 200 yards per game. So part of that falls on the offense, right? Controlling the ball, keeping it away from opposing offenses. But this defense has shut down opponent after opponent. They've limited first downs and certainly, as you talked about, limited touchdowns.
They've got a lot of talent that's in that front 7 on the line of scrimmage, a linebacking core, but they've got talent at the back end that can come make an impact. Jake Pearson's done that with 2 defensive touchdowns this year. Brandon Royka, kind of a nose for the football type guy. They can get you in a lot of different ways on that defensive 11.
Yeah, I mean, Pearson's the flash, right? 2 touchdowns, outstanding play there, 37 tackles. Really nice number for a DB, actually. Royka's at a safety position, 76 tackles, is spectacular, and that speaks to how they use him. They bring him up a lot to help cover the run game. and Braga has responded throughout the course of the year. Plus, he's gotten in the backfield repeatedly, and he is one of the top tacklers for this team.
A stifling defense, a hot quarterback that makes good decisions. Should bode well for the Cougars here into the postseason. They get it started next. The 6A tournament comes your way right here on North Metro TV. Stick around.
Pecorino, Campidoglio, vino rosso, vino bianco, cappuccino, Rigoletto, Canaletto, Saccomano, Vaporetto, Portofino, Leonardo, Amaretto, Marco Polo, Parmigiano, Caravaggio, Arlecchino, Allegretto ma non troppo piano, piano, Bardolino. Viva, 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 viva l'Italia, viva l'Italia, viva, 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 viva l'Italia che mi va.
But they've got those base colors, the Cougars, blacking it out, the black shirts ready to go here in week number 1 of this 6A state tournament, looking for win number 7 to keep their season moving on here at home. Beautiful night. This is what you'd expect for fall football, and the Cougar defense is going to get the first crack at the field in this one. The Cougars 6-2 overall, 5-1 in the Metro North. That was tied for the best record in the Metro North. Champlain Park ended up with 7 victories overall, so maybe give them a slight edge there. Meanwhile, the Ponies 3-5. They were an even 3-3 in the Metro East. That was 5th place in the Metro East that was taken by Woodbury, a team that went 5-1 in Metro East play. Head coach Mike Diggins in his 9th season, but 30, that says the head coach, but 30 years on staff here at Centennial, and Centennial through and through, the 82 grad. And then Bo LeBoer played at Woodbury.
That's not him, by the way.
He was a coach at Woodbury, not Bo
There's
LeBoer. There he is. And he went to play at St. John's and now continues into his 9th season here with the Ponies, trying to get them past this first round. They've had 19 overall Prep Bowl appearances in their storied past, have the Ponies. 4 times they've won a championship, but it's been some distant past. Cougars trying to capitalize on this great unit they've got on both sides of the ball here in 2019. Zolk's going to boot it away to start things as the Cougars won the toss and deferred. A couple of Ponies back at their own 5. The music's still blaring, but Zolk ready to go. Boots that right foot into it. Picked up at the 12-yard line, worked down the near side by Dominic Krenz, a reserve running back, and he streaks through the first couple of lines of Cougar defense and pushes out to the 35-yard line. A decent starting field position for this Ponies offense that comes into the game averaging 17 points a contest, just over 200 yards per game. 126 through the air, under 80 per game on the ground, and that's why we talk about Casey Vensky, the junior quarterback, and he's going to have to run this offense and find some success. Does have a talented tailback in Jake Day, 84 yards last week in week number 8. Starting with that I formation, the 2 wide receivers. Extra pressure shown by the Cougars as Vensky, little play fake, rolling out to that right away from the pressure, getting him moving, and it's complete. Out along the sideline to the far side, picked up by Luke Cullen. Cullen, the senior wide receiver, 3 catches and a touchdown a week ago. 5 touchdown catches on the season as you look at that starting offensive line. Owen Prom anchoring things in the middle. Meredith on the right tackle side. A couple of wide receivers and a tight end in the formation as the Ponies quickly work their way back to the line of scrimmage just out past their own 45. Through the air on play number 1 to pick up a first down. Again, Vensky will keep off a play fake. This time he throws into more traffic. He was looking for Max Richardson, his other senior wide receiver. There was coverage over the top from Jake Pearson. We highlighted the senior who had a couple of tackles, but a fumble recovery for a touchdown last week. That's a good defensive line right there, John, that can certainly push offensive lines around, and we've seen them do that time and again here in this 2019 campaign.
All 4 of them have been really strong up front, and that has allowed the linebackers to really thrive as well. Those are the names that we end up saying the most because people are getting in their lanes defensively.
Day with his first carry as they mix it up a bit after two straight throws, and the 6', 180 senior rumbles ahead for a first down into Cougar territory. So this Cougar defense yet to find their footing here, hit by a couple of pass attempts, one complete, one not, and then a gashing run off the right tackle.
So far, so good for the Ponies offense. Doesn't look like an offense that's scoring just 17 points per game. I mean, yards in big chunks.
Almost got the Cougars to jump right there. Vinsky under center as everybody peers from that I formation to look over to the far side. Beatty changed the play. It's a Stillwater team, just 3 wins, but 2 of those against pretty good programs, including a top 10 team in Mounds View this year. Vinsky, the inside give to the fullback, and the Cougars weren't super fooled as that pushes Nick Schlender, the 5'7", 185-pound junior, closer to the 40-yard line. Short gain, 2nd and 8 coming up.
Well, it's nice for Centennial to get that, somewhat of a stop there after 2 plays that had gone for 10+ yards by this Ponies offense to begin the game with that incomplete pass in between.
Games we've done, John, we've had at least 2 negative plays by this time already, you would think, on the first Cougar defensive possession. And here they've got a strip on the far side, and it was poked away by Zach Frank, the defensive lineman who's come on big late. And Frank comes up with the recovery, and there's the first big play and the takeaway for the Cougars. Another fumble forced, and they'll have it at midfield for their quarterback, Zolk and company.
Look at him get into the backfield. He's thinking sack all the way. Then the quarterback steps up, so he just reaches a paw out, knocks the ball out of the hands of the QB, and Vinsky can't even get on it before Frank does. Great job, strip and recovery there by Frank.
At the 46-yard line, still just back in the territory of the Ponies, or in their own territory, rather. Off the fumble. Here comes Zolk and company. John said it in the open. He's tasked with making these decisions. Got a pitch man to his right. He goes to Noah Larson. Larson with a little space, looking for a block. He shimmies inside of that block. Austin Flushing sprung in past the 50-yard line into Stillwater territory at the 46-yard line.
Good, quick 8-yard pickup. You look at the offensive line. They have done their job throughout the course of the season. Usually when they go heavy is when they do their best work. And the skill position players do their work on the outside. Anderson, the wide receiver to watch out for, of course, as always. And we're probably going to see at least 4 different guys carry the ball tonight for Centennial.
One of those could be Flushing in the backfield right now. He's the up back, and he's got it, and he sprints deeper into Stillwater territory, past the 35, down to the 30. The little quick give for Connor Zolk. And Austin Flushing, who had 72 yards and a touchdown a week ago, has gone 138 and a touchdown over the last 4 games. Gets the quick give and bursts right through.
Flushing is the guy who, more than anyone, who loves the offensive line, right? I mean, he goes between the tackles every single time. And there he got a big push from the line and a hole, and he takes advantage.
Over those last 4 games I mentioned, he's averaging up over 4, right at 4.5 yards per carry. He gets a big burst for a first down right there. Picks up 16. Quick pause. Larson's the wing off to the right. Single wide receiver. He's going to be out there alone a lot. Carter Anderson, the top wide receiver for these Cougars. Zolk will keep. Pitches late to Larson. Larson trying to make a man miss and does at the 25. Scampers ahead inside the 20 before he's pushed out of bounds at the 14-yard line. Another big pickup of 16 yards on the ground, and the Cougars taking the early fumble with 8:42 to go here and driving right into the red zone.
I mean, they're working the outside, they're working the inside. Wherever they go on the ground right now, they are succeeding in this first drive.
Noah Larson, tailback of note, touchdown to close in week number 8. 532 on the ground this year after 460 last year. Larson's on the right wing. Flushing is the deep back again. Tim O'Neill goes in motion. O'Neill has the carry, going to the right side. He got caught up with his blockers, and that allowed him to be dragged down there quickly by Stillwater. And Anders Thoriger, the linebacker, pulled them down as we introduce you to those defensive starters for the Ponies. Still positive yardage into the 8.
I was going to say, it was a 6-yard pickup against the Stillwater defense. So I think that shows how spoiled we've been with the first few runs that Centennial has put together. But they really like that sweep and playing with O'Neill Jr. And it won't be the last time we see it, I'm sure.
Ponies have given up some yardage, 362 per game in their average. A second down inside the 10-yard line. They'll give it to Flushing again. Flushing trying to wind his way through traffic at the 5. And he's gang tackled there. That assault led by Andrew Weber, the linebacker, to bring him down. But another first down pickup for Flushing, and he's down to the 3.
Nice 5-yard pickup on the run. He really got lassoed at the end of this because it looked like he was running strong. And here, he gets pulled back a little bit. The tackle made by Weber, as you said.
26.5 points per game for the Ponies. They beat Roseville. They beat number 8 Mounds View. That was a 1-point thriller, 22-21. Big win for the Ponies in a low-scoring game, 7-0 over Creighton-Durham Hall. Here the Cougars trying to get him early. A keeper for Zulk, and he tries to spin around that right edge. That play was ended by Anders Doriger, but Josh Pikowski, the linebacker, got in there to blow it up. 44 and 43 in on the mix in white.
I'm almost surprised Zulk decided to keep it. He usually has as many carries as anyone, but everyone else have been doing such a good job. You can stay being the distributor.
23 more carries than anybody on the team coming into the game. Parlay that into 228 more yards than anybody else. After missing the last half of last year, injured early. Flush it again as the up man, he'll block, and Zulk will wind his way past the goal line for a Cougar touchdown from 2 yards out, and the Cougars get on the board. It's 6-0 Centennial.
I thought that was Flushing's ball for sure, but only one man in the backfield. Flushing steps in front of the quarterback after the snap, and that allows Zulk to just follow behind him. The captain is in for the first touchdown of the game, and really, this first quarter, the tone has been set by the Centennial Cougars. Can they keep it up throughout the course of the game? There's a long ways to go, but the defense takes the ball away, the offense takes it down the field, and they put it in the end zone.
Ricky Hemrick, the soccer play and place kicker, knocks it up and through to make it 7-0 in favor of the Cougars. They take the fumble that was forced on the defensive side by Zach Frank. They march 54 yards down the field in 3 minutes and 18 seconds. And they just go 7 plays to do it. And John, no surprise, every one of the 7 right on the ground with 3 different ball carriers, make it 4 with Tim O'Neill Jr. And the Cougars take a 7-0 lead.
Everything they did is what we would have expected, as you know, a couple of guys who have seen plenty of the Cougars games this season. And it didn't seem like the Ponies, who have probably watched plenty of film this season, knew it was coming, or if they did, they didn't know how to stop it.
Tough to stop a freight train, and Connor Zulk has been that with this offense. Blythe Whaley is downstairs, the 3rd member of our broadcast crew. Blythe?
Hi guys, yeah, exciting down here on the field. Getting to talk with both the coaching staffs here before this one. Centennial telling us what we saw here just on the field moments ago. Do what they do best. We saw them take that run. We saw them play a great defensive effort and get the ball to begin with. And so Centennial, really their mindset is to come into this one and do what they do best. So they're going to continue to grind. We look over at the Ponies. Their coaching staff told me, hey, what does this look like to play every play like it's their last? They've only won 3 games here this season. So what does this look like to keep this one going? They're on a losing streak here with just that last game, but they thought they had some things to be able to run and continue to build on here in this one. Back to you guys.
Thanks a lot, Blythe. We'll check in with you throughout this one. And the Cougars start with the turnover and the touchdown, and this time they hem in the return man, Dominic Krenz, inside the 25-yard line. They'll spot it at the 23 with just under 7 minutes to go here in this first quarter.
So you got a mixed bag for Centennial so far tonight, right? This is a team, or excuse me, for the Ponies on offense, because they had some good plays, they picked up solid yardage, and one play turns it over.
Vinsky, he'll run it with Day, and Day tumbles across the 25-yard line. Garrett Strading in on the stop for the Cougars. But again, 3 guys, including Frank as well, coming back up off the pile, and these Cougars do rally to the football. Isaac Ankrum is in on the tackle as well. Strading, their leading tackler, with 92. His linebacking spot, 10 tackles for loss, 3 sacks, which, as we've looked at it throughout the year, that could be low. Sacks.
It felt like he had it more than 3 in the Anoka game alone.
Just in that one. This one picks up 3 yards, so a 2nd down and 7 with 6 minutes and counting here.
And I feel like Strading was a big surprise to us compared to what he had done previously, but he's a senior, and he looks every bit the 92 tackles that he's had this season.
Vinsky throws, gets a little help from his wide receiver as Richardson goes to the top of his leap to pull it down. A few extra yards after the catch, out to the 38-yard line. Pick up a first down, a gain of 12. And the positive yardage, John, has been through the air, and so far impressive for Casey Vinsky. Saved the fumble when he was stripped with the guy coming off the edge. He's put it on the money.
Yeah, so there was one incomplete pass so far, throwing a little bit behind a receiver, but I think the 2 completions he had speak more to his ability, because you're right, those passes have been right where they needed to be for his receivers.
He hit both guys that he found for touchdowns last week. Richardson had one of his 3 catches for 56. Luke Cullen also has a catch in this game. They'll run it with Day, trying to wind his way through that Cougar defensive front. Tough going there. There was Brandon Royka in on the stop straight away. Royka got a little help from Ankrum again. Talented defensive backs right there that play near the line.
Right, guys who are looking to get into the backfield, right? Because that tackle came from behind. They jumped on his back as he was getting to the line of scrimmage and toppled him right down there, so no gain.
Yeah, no gain. Day is a senior, as we mentioned. No touchdowns in the last 3 games. He's had a total of 131 yards on the ground. Less than 3 per carry as they've gone through the air. Scored 7 against Shakopee. Put up 32 in the season finale against Eastridge. Lost that one in a shootout, 35-32 to the Raptors. Day trying on that right side again, and he does get past the line of scrimmage, but tripped up as he goes through the trash. And he comes up just short of the 45. Picks up 6 yards, so it'll be a 3rd down and 4 with under 4.5 to play in this first quarter.
I don't think he's gone if he keeps his feet, but man, if he keeps his feet, is there more yardage to be had there. So a shame that he couldn't get his knees up more effectively on that play for him.
So Austin Flushing there, who had a couple of big carries on that first offensive drive for the Cougars. He's 3rd in tackles on this team, playing both ways, a lot of snaps for number 15. Coach DeBoer and his staff.
And we can talk about it after the play, but the way the Ponies get into their offensive set each time is interesting.
3 wide. Vinsky's from the shotgun this time. 4-man pressure, stepping through. He fires, has a man. It's Cullen open into Cougar territory. The forward progress takes him down to the 48-yard line.
Jake Pearson there on the tackle right away, and the Cougars have done a great job of being there on the tackle after the catch is made.
But Vinsky 3 of 4 through the air. That one not a tight spiral, but he put it right where it needed to be. Cullen running past the sticks, and the drive stays alive. They drove down to the 40-yard line before the fumble on their first possession. That turned into the 6 points, 7 points for the Cougars. Single wide receiver to the right. That's Cullen, who just had that first down pickup. High formation with Vinsky under center. Give it to Day. Day, he's bottled up right in the backfield, and the man that wrapped him up around the waist was Carter Kohler, the linebacker for the Cougars, right at the point of attack. No gain, stopped him at the 48. It's 2nd and 10. We spin towards 3 minutes to go.
So the Ponies have been looking to the sideline, and for the most part, they've been doing it while all just kind of standing in a semi-huddle instead of just actually huddling up on most of the plays so far.
Same formation, looking for Cullen all the way, fading to the right side. Pearson in coverage, and it was overthrown. Cullen hits the deck inside the 20. Pearson was giving no quarter over there, step for step. And it'll be a 3rd down.
Again, I think the DBs have done a nice job of sticking with the receivers. The next step is to challenge the passes, and we haven't seen that yet. If they can do that, then Vinsky and the rest of the Ponies are going to have to find something else, and I don't know how much else they have.
Snap back on a 3rd down and a long 9. Vinsky has all kinds of time, dumps it out short underneath. And a flag's going to come out for a late hit as the ball carrier was dragged out of bounds late. Dump off to Eric Rodiger. Wide receiver coming over the middle. You see a little bit, half a step too late on that tackle.
Well, I mean, you have to run him to the sidelines, but there's a difference. At that point, you can put your hands on him. You might even give him a little shove, and you'd be all right. But you lower the shoulder and go into him like that, it takes a little longer. The receiver is already out of bounds at that point. The Centennial fans were clearly hearing don't like this call. I don't think that the contact was necessary, and that's why the officials threw the flag.
Cougars had already given up the first down at the 35, and then the penalty forces the football down to the 20. And so the first big penalty of the game dinged against the Cougars here. Back to the I formation for the Ponies. They'll run it with Day. He's had a tough go of things right around the line of scrimmage. He tumbles inside the 20. Flushing was there to bring him down. Also, tackle from Isaac Ankrum, his 3rd already of the game. Spot him at the 19.
We've seen teams try to run against the Cougars and try to keep the ball on the ground as much as they can. but we haven't seen a lot of teams break the ball, break those carries for big gains.
And right there, not going to be a big gain as the Cougars were in the backfield, and also the tailback was slipping, and Isaiah Bettinger made sure he would stay slipping down to the deck. And there's a good loss play of about 2 yards back outside the 20. So it'll be a 3rd down and 11 for the Ponies. And they'll stack 3 wide receivers to the right, 1 to the left, and we got a timeout here. It would appear. Don't see any laundry down. It is a delay of game. So no timeouts. That'll push them out to the 26-yard line off their first penalty.
Well timed if you're the Cougars. You'd already forced them into a 3rd and long. You want to try and limit what could be a 4-down situation for the Ponies.
Calling it 3rd
as possible.
And officially 15. Vinsky looking for a timing route out of the break on the far side, and it's incomplete. He had his fullback turning around at the right time, but he skipped it into Nicholas Schneider, and it's incomplete.
Get another look. I mean, pocket held up just long enough, but that pass is a little low. I think it was catchable, but fullback being able to trap that ball the same way that some of your other players might. Is that Cullen on them?
That was the fullback. That was Schlinder.
Oh, I thought it was Cullen out there.
So it'll be a 4th down, a long 15, and they're going to try a long field goal here. That's Cullen. Is that what you meant? Cullen doing the kicking?
No, I'm pretty sure they threw that ball to Cullen. I'm going to stand by that.
Put it down at the 34. The snap comes back. And a timeout is called, so they'll think about this. I've got the Ponies who's 1 for 2 on field goals this season. They're trying to get some kind of points out of this. So they drove down into Cougar territory in their first drive, then fumbled. Cougars marched it down the field, 7 plays, 54 yards for the score to put us at 7-0. Minute 13 to go. And it's, as we said, John, there hasn't been a lot of room to run. One big positive gain for Day of about 8 or 9 yards that was set up by the offense through the air. But outside of that, it's been Vinsky and company looking to throw the football with a little play action out of the backfield.
And I think that they've done a good job, and they've done a good job of protecting, right? How many times have we seen teams try to drop back with their QB against the Centennial defense and pay the price? In that game against Anoka to start the season, a team that has, a similar number of wins as these Ponies, and Anoka's quarterback, it didn't feel like was off the ground at all once the snap happened. Cougars were everywhere in the backfield, but so far tonight the pocket has been strong, and that's a credit to Vinsky's offensive line.
The Hall of Famer, Mike Diggins, inducted into the Cougar Hall of Fame back in 2017. This will be Cullen. Ball will be put down at the 33-yard line for a 43-yard attempt. His right foot is into it, and he hooked that one well to the left. He had plenty of leg on it, just not accurate to the left, and so it'll turn back over to the Cougars, and the defense holds twice.
I mean, that's 2 times that you've gotten to opponent territory and you haven't been able to get points. This time they're even deeper. That one, I think they need to kick it from the right hash. That might help.
We'll keep that in mind if they're running the football late to try and get placement for a late field goal. But again, not a lot of field goals attempted for Cullen or anyone for Stillwater, and so they're just looking for some sort of points on a 4th and 15. Cougars take over after the missed field goal. It goes back to the 20-yard line with a minute 7 coming up on the clock. Cougars will run it on the right side. Not a lot of room to go over there.
Well, the Ponies were missing a defender, and he ran in and got in position on the D-line just as the ball was snapped. And guess what? The Cougars ran to that side. They went towards their left tackle, seeing that the interior defensive lineman was missing opposite the left guard.
To the 26, a 6-yard pickup anyway. So we're under a minute to go. Cougars the 1-score lead. Zolk getting everybody scrambling to the line. An extra tight end on the left side. O'Neal Jr. goes in motion. Keeps it. Pitches now to O'Neal Jr. on the right side. He's got all kinds of green space. Just had to be one man on the edge. Cuts back in at the 40. Got the first down and plenty more out to the 42-yard line. And Tim O'Neal Jr., 6'1" senior, scampers ahead. He's another guy that makes an impact on both sides of the field. 100 yards on 8 carries, but 100 receiving yards on 8 receptions, but 286 on the ground, and he gets it off the pitch this time.
I love the work there. I mean, you can obviously run right out of bounds if you want with that ball, but he tried to go for more, and he played the physical brand of football that Centennial wants to see. 17
on the pickup, and it takes us to the quarter break. So the Cougars, a turnover, 2 defensive stops in total, and a touchdown, and they've done nothing but run the football. We'll go to the second. Next in this 6A state tournament, the 2-7 matchup has the Cougars up 7-0 on North Metro TV.
An apple core, or potato peels, that leftover pizza you promised you'd eat.
Ew.
Those dirty napkins and paper towels. Stop treating us like garbage. Did you know up to 30% of what you're throwing away could be composted? Composting gives your discards new life, which can be used to improve soil. To learn more about the new organics drop-off programs available throughout the county and get your free starter kit, go to anokacounty.us/organics.
Headed to the second quarter. Well, Cougars in the first, a 1-score lead. This is just our 4th overall possession of this game. All right, John, quick, guess the theme. Well, now it looks like Eeyore. But there was a whole lot of red, white, and blue out there for the Cougars.
Well, I think that, the Cougar students going.
Noah Larson.
With British pride, I assume.
Finding a hole, and he tumbles right to midfield, just shy of the logo on the near side. But he's flopped down on by Josh Bykowski.
And speaking of flopping, clothing for the student section for the Stillwater area ponies, very loose, looking very comfortable. I don't know if it's warm enough. I don't usually wear a towel outside of the house.
Unless it's an emergency, right, John?
Well,
Noah Larson already with a couple of good pickups. He gets a good first down carry. It'll be 2nd down and 3 now, under 11.5 to go in this first half. O'Neal Jr. goes in motion. Zolk's going to keep. He's pressured. We don't see that much. He gets away from it. Finds a man wide open. It's Larson. All kinds of running room deep to the 20. He'll cut it back there at the 15. Still on his feet down to the 10. And the Ponies rallied to the football. But Noah Larson could have set up shop, roasted a marshmallow, and he was eventually brought down. It'll be 1st down and 10 from the 11.
I was trying to figure out if that was a pass play all along or if the plan was to go option to Tim O'Neal Jr. to the right side, because he's got his kind of flex back, his wide receiver scooping around to the right side, but that passing lane was cut off, and yet the athleticism of Zolk to dance away from the defender and then look downfield.
The first pass of the game goes for 42 as Zolk sprints through on the left side, keeps his feet, and in he goes. Touchdown Cougars, and they're up 2 scores early in the second.
We highlighted him for a reason before the game. Those 2 plays back to back, right? Even if it was a design pass play at the time before, his fancy footwork got him away from the defender so that he could get the pass away, and then it was carried into the red zone. He carries it the rest of the way, a 10-yard pickup to break the goal line and put his team on the scoreboard again.
Ricky Hemrick to make it a clean 14-0. Really any win to speak of, and Hemrick, he's been good all year, and he pounds that one home. He is now 29 of 30 is Ricky Hemrick in PATs. And another rushing touchdown for Connor Zolk on the ground this year. That becomes his 12th. In his last 3 games, it's now his 7th.
There it is. I mean, the reach out at the end, good job keeping his feet. Cougars. Lots to celebrate early in this one with a 14-point lead. And when you're the 2 seed, this is the message you want to send early, and that's what we talked about after the first 2 series. One defensively, one offensively. They get on the board, and they're just continuing that. The Cougars looking to pile up the points if possible tonight.
It was a 30-0 lead going into the fourth 2 years ago when these two teams met. Cougars trying to make quick work of it. You see 5 plays, a 7-play drive. That one goes 80 yards. They start after the missed field goal attempt at their own 20, and a big play, of course, 40 yards through the air to Noah Larson on the broken play that Zulk kept alive. And they will fake the onside kick. Well, they won't fake the onside kick. They'll fake the deep kick and turn it into an onside kick. And a good heads-up cover-up by Thoringer there at the 40-yard line. And the Ponies avoid some danger.
This is an interesting ball off the tee.
Zulk, the whiff, and then the actual Josh Moten kick. I like it. Proponents of the always going for the onside kick are sitting there on the edge of their seat right now. It does set up pretty good field position for Vinsky and company with 10.5 to go in this second quarter. And Vinsky's first offering here is well over the head of his intended target, Richardson.
That was Carter Kohler all the way. I mean, he gets into the backfield, gets his arms up, seeing the quarterbacks looking to pass, and so the ball has to be thrown over the outstretched arms of the rushing defender. And when that happens, might have even got deflected, it looks like, just a little bit, because that was not a clean spiral. And it clears the receiver by a good 5 yards.
Well, it's going true to form here for the Cougars. Stifling defense as, again, Vinsky drops back, just a 4-man pressure, so he gets this one away. There's his fullback again. A flag is down as Schlender scampers out just shy of the 50-yard line. And we'll sort out the flag, which was middle of the field, so away from the play, which went out to the left. Schlender, 24 carries for 100 yards, average 4.2 a carry.
I mean, he's been the safety valve tonight.
He's got 11 catches on the year. That would make it 12. Little game show network action going on here. They're in high spirits at Centennial. The crowd has filled in, and why not? This will be on the Cougars here. No, they'll just decline it. I didn't think he got past the 50, but he got first down yardage, so they'll take the end of the play. Catch will stand into the Cougar 48-yard line. First down and 10, 4 wide receivers for the Ponies. Got a fresh set of downs. They'll play fake it into the belly of Day and then dump it off quickly over the middle. And a missed tackle for the Cougars. A rarity there, and it's taken inside the 30 by Eric Rodiger. And there's another flag down. This one right back in the second level there, hitting at the 45-yard line. And the Ponies walking dejectedly backwards.
Disappointing for Stillwater area if they don't get to keep that yardage, and it doesn't look like they will.
Rodiger bouncing right off a tackler in the middle there after he secured that catch.
It's a break for the Cougars in 2 ways. I mean,
ineligible. That would seem to follow on a play designed that way. Somebody leaks out a little bit too much. So we'll replay it here.
Bullet dodged by the Cougars to not wrap up on a tackle like that, and it turned into huge yardage. But instead, the ball marches the other way. So now we're getting into that kind of look over at the sideline, not huddle up. So instead of having the quarterback share the play with everyone.
They all have wristbands too, John, by the way, so you'll see him peek down at those. Designed to allow you to go fast, but you can also be methodical once you get to the line, as Vinsky wants to throw, looking for a slant, and it was in behind his intended target.
Good adjustment.
Like he was looking for Rodiger again.
Yeah, good adjustment by Strating in the middle of the field there. And we haven't talked a lot about him in pass coverage because that's not what he does. But on this play, he was in the right place, and he's the one trying to get in there and muck up the ball. You see diving down at the end there.
Well, you credit the Ponies for coming in with that type of strategy, knowing that they're going to commit maybe one extra man to try and pressure in the backfield and try and hit them with something short over the middle. And that time, Strating and the Cougars adjust, and they leave those linebackers free to play the pass. 2nd and 16. Keeper for Vinsky. Doesn't do this much. Running off the right side. And he's into the arms of the defensive line. The Cougars rally to the football. He was stopped by Zach Frank. Vinsky, 34 total carries credited for just a total net of 12 yards coming into the day, but he has scored 7 touchdowns.
He netted a few yards on that one in the end. But no, I don't think that's the direction that the team wants to go on a regular basis.
Their penalty set them back. That gets them past the original line of scrimmage before the penalty into Cougar territory at the 45 on a 3rd down and 8. Down 2 scores here with under 10 minutes to play in this second quarter. Vinsky looks to throw all the way. He's flushed out of the pocket to the left, and that one's intercepted. No, it's off the hands and back to the ponies, and it's into the house instead for Schlender. That was dead to rights for Jake Pearson, and instead Schlender plucks it out of the air, and the fullback has a 45-yard touchdown reception to get the ponies on the board.
It really looked like we were going to see the 3rd touchdown of the year for the DB.
He didn't have it as much as I thought,
No.
but yeah, his hands were there, but Schlender able to pull it in, and he'll draw the chance from his own student section, and they can cut it to a touchdown game. Extra point is up and good, and it's just that, 14-7 on a 4-play 59-yard drive capped by the 45-yard touchdown pass from Vinsky to the fullback Schlender.
Very simple play for Schlender. It looks more spectacular because the DB flashed in front, but he's just sitting down on the sideline waiting, gets the pass, he turns it upfield and speeds his way into the end zone. Nobody else was around after he got the ball, and with the man who was covering him trying to step in front and intercept, he had no chance of making a tackle and catching up. Listed as a fullback, but that was a quick move down the field for Schlender.
And you've said it a couple of times, he's been the outlet on this offense. So give him credit for his bounce off the line of scrimmage. Is generally in that I formation, he's the up man. He'll split him out wide in some of those multiple wide receiver sets. Pays off right there, so we've narrowed this one back down. The Cougars gave up less than 11 points a game in their last 4. Most they gave up was late to Osseo last week in a 42-21 final. This one will be popped up, potential onside kick. It's still loose. And did someone actually recover this on the sideline, or did it go out of bounds? Centennial has it, and they're going to say it's just inbounds, and the Cougars will take it right shy of the 40-yard line. Good for the Goose, good for the Pony.
Yeah, we're just throwing all the, standard operating procedure out for this first half. Maybe they'll just keep onside kicking it every time.
Start a trend.
I also like to live dangerously.
First round 6A game at Centennial High School. The Cougars had a 14-0 lead, a 45-yard touchdown pass from Casey Vinsky to Nick Schlender. Puts the onus right back on this Cougar offense to find a way to answer here. First time they've started a possession via the kickoff. Zolk will keep. Lowers a shoulder into a defender, stays on his feet and bursts past the 45, dragged down at midfield. Take it down, last man was Thoriger.
He still surprises me. I know he's got some strength, but you see a run like that where he doesn't quit on it, even though he's hit early. And he slips through the arms after taking the initial hit.
6'3", 205 for the senior, bodying up on a couple of defenders. Throw, wide receiver screen to Anderson, and he finally secures it off his face mask. He'll go dragging tacklers to make something out of nothing there. If you bobble that at all, John, the timing is off, and then it was just up to Anderson to get what he could. Carter has his 30th reception of the season.
That went from being what I thought was a very dangerous ball. It almost looked lateral. I mean, our angle isn't perfect, certainly, but it had me worried when he didn't secure it right away. And then not only that, but he shouldn't have been able to get any yards. I mean, he's sitting down there. Yeah, it was forward, but the DB, Butner, wasn't able to step up in time to tackle him for a loss.
Another big body right there, though, too. Anderson goes 6'4", 207. You like him in those battles. Zolk will keep again, running behind Flushing. And he's down to the 40-yard line, picks up the first down, so you make it up. You pick up 3 on first down, 2nd and 7. That's where number 7 likes to eat.
Hard to fault a guy for following his blockers, but I swear if he cuts this to the right, there is a lot of room that way. He kept it towards the left.
Keeps it on the ground, 7.5 and counting here in the first half. Anderson's going to spin to the left. They've got the tight end on the left side of the line. Christian Comstock. Hand on the ground there. Larson goes in motion that way. They'll give to the up man. Flushing. He high steps his way through that traffic with bodies around his heels and makes his way all the way to the 30-yard line. Pick up 10 on a burst.
Another first down. So the Cougars, it feels like have had one bad play so far. But the offense, I don't remember any. I mean, incomplete passes, short yardage gains, those have been few and far between so far in this first half.
They'll give to Larson, sprinting right to left. He's got a convoy and speed, now waits for a blocker, and he bursts his way into the end zone. Touchdown Cougars, and answer in just 5 plays.
But that's all it's taken, right? 5 to 7 plays for all 3 of their scoring drives in this game. And yeah, they've had pretty good field position, but they are chewing up yards in the ground game here tonight. Larson with another big pickup, and downfield he's getting some blocking, but you see a little cutback move as well for him. It really worked for the Cougars on that play.
His 6th rushing touchdown of the season. Cougars are lining up to go for 2. Zolk will send O'Neal Jr. in motion, and now someone got in motion for the Ponies. .315 off the clock on the 5-play, 64-yard drive.
The offsides against the defense, and things just got a bit easier.
It's an offense that should love to get up here and get these 2 yards. Embarrassment of riches to pick that up. They'll bring everybody tight, no wing this time, just an offset eye to the left. They'll pitch it to Larson. Larson all kinds of space. He can float his way in on the left side for 2.
I'm not sure why they're going for 2, but it worked.
22-7. 30-yard touchdown run for Noah Larson.
Get another look at it. Great sprint to the outside. You can see the blocking downfield by the wide receiver. He's too fast for the offensive lineman on that play, and that's a good thing this time around because he only had to make one man miss, and he did so here. Nobody, because those blockers are in place that time to shut down the Ponies.
And it was Brett Sonderman, the
Both
man
times.
he beat down the field the first time, but Sonderman stuck to the block on the 2-point conversion and broke it open for his tailback. So your offensive line, you got to trust those guys. They'll come back and pick you up.
And, you know, I've often heard it said, when you're a running back, you need to make one man miss because everyone else should be blocked. There are 10 other guys out there with you to set up the block. You need to make one man miss. And on his run for the touchdown, that's what he did. Made one man miss at the end.
6:45 remaining. And a 2-score lead again for the Centennial Cougars. See what we get here after that 5-play, 64-yard drive. They've got 64, 80, and 54 for their 3 scores in 5, 5, and 7 plays in reverse order. This one low lining on the ground, a spinner, and the Cougars, that's a 3rd different style of potential onside kick that we've now seen. And it almost was executed there because that's tough to field, not a traditional squib. To the 38.
More onside kicks tonight than we've had throughout the entire regular season. Yeah, he got right off the
hit
body.
It, yeah. He hit the guy.
Onken.
Lower body injury right there. Angled it to the middle of the field. Off the kickoff, Vinsky, play fake, wants to throw left, it's tipped, and that one's incomplete. Cougars the second tip ball.
Remember the strip and recovery earlier in the game by Frank? How about Royka here? He gets the hand up, deflects it up, then spins around. He nearly picks it out of the air himself.
Flush
There's
it late
another
on the
man in
dive
the area.
too. Yep. Get the hands up.
Yep.
It might have been tipped twice.
Yeah. Someone at the line got there as well.
Second tip was Royka, as you mentioned, Vinsky trying to escape trouble here, and he spins past a handful of Cougars and gets positive yardage out to the 42-yard line. So again, not what you're looking to do, not what the offense is designed to do, but Vinsky now has escaped the pocket twice and gotten out of danger. That's a 4-yard pickup to make it 3rd and 6.
Well, credit Vinsky. I mean, he's trying to get creative here to make something happen, and it's not easy against this Cougars defense. They know how to swarm. They're not expecting a lot of running from him, and yet they're still able to react. And how many guys got to him? They didn't take him down quite as quickly as they'd like, but it's still a gang tackle. They all got there.
3rd and 6, still a lot of options near midfield here, under 6 to go for the Ponies. They've shown they can move the football. Drop back with Vinsky, fires into space, it's complete, and a big lick put on by Flushing to the wide receiver, Richardson. He paid for that catch, but he made it strong. He gets the 1st down into Cougar territory at the 49. Picks up 9 yards.
Is there any information we need to count?
Passing still seems to be the way to go for the Ponies, and they're going there more and more.
Days in the backfield, just offset. Been the tailback of note. The other tailback, Schlender's got the touchdown catch. He's in the slot right. Cullen goes in motion. Pressure brought in with a 4th man. Day tries to pick him up. Vinsky goes down. He drops the football, and that is out. Oh, they're going to say he was throwing that football.
Yeah.
And it was picked up by Elijah Ward. I don't know about that, but that's what it'll be called, and it'll be 4th down.
So the ball was going forward, whether he
It was going forward because he was
just getting knocked
seesawing
around.
his way forward. And again, the arm came forward, looked like he was trying to tuck. Don't get me started on that. What a hit. By the way, that looks exactly like the tuck rule play. Charles Woodson somewhere doesn't want to get started on that. And it might have been Zach Osmek that got in there too, by the way. Oh, no, excuse me, it was Frank, 44. I was looking for the 24 connection.
Yep.
So it's incomplete. It is 2nd down. Cullen goes in motion again. Run off the right side with Day, and he'll tumble ahead for a single yard. Down to the 47. They're asking Day to just show this run.
Yeah.
And he's going to pay for that. He has hard yards inside. We go under 5 to play here in this 1st half.
And the hope is always that he'll find some space, but the Cougars have not given the Ponies any reason to believe that he will to this point in the game. Maybe that one chunk on the 1st drive, the Cougars have gotten better as the game has gone on.
3rd down and 9, 2 wide receivers either side. Cullen goes in motion again. Cougars follow on the back end, seeking man-to-man coverage. They blitz in from the edge, dumped off short today as the outlet. He dropped the football. That's on the floor for good, and the Cougars pick it up at their own 45-yard line. That one recovered by Tim O'Neill Jr.
You had Bettinger making the tackle from behind to make sure that they wouldn't get a 1st down on the play. And in the process of that tackle, I'm not sure he actually forced it out, but he's there. The ball comes loose, and then it's Tim O'Neill Jr. who scoops it up.
Well designed to try and get that. Had some blocking out front.
Yeah, he got a hand in there. Yeah, nice job that time by Bettinger. 46 knocks it out and recovered by O'Neill Jr.
So the Cougars with 4:20 to go off their 2nd takeaway of the game. Start at their own 45. 1st and 10, everybody in the backfield, and eventually it's Larson. And Larson room to run, 1 man to beat on the edge, and he sprints past to the 20 and the 15. He stiff arms for the pylon, and he's out of bounds, they say, back at the 5. But a scamper of 50 yards for Noah Larson. And 1st and goal.
Look at all the misdirection on this play. And he starts inside, right? And then he just keeps cruising it to the left, thinking that there's room out there. He clears that one defender. Was worried about a block in the back, but that's not what it was. It was just the defender diving, Hudson Day, trying to get a hold of Noah Larson.
Cougars looking for a 4th touchdown in this 1st half. Anderson close to the line of scrimmage. Another man on the left. They go a slant, and it's knocked away. Looking for Larson. Good pass coverage there, backing up into the play for Andrew Weber.
You see what they're trying to do. I mean, everyone's expecting run because that's what the Cougars have done throughout the course of this game and done so successfully, so why would they change it up? But if you're Centennial, the key, is to keep the defense off balance, and they were able to do that there. However, good job dropping back that time by Andrew Weber, and then the coverage over the top was there as well.
Stops the clock, 4:04 to go. Mason Lindsay comes back off the field. He was in the slot. Lindsay has 2 catches this year. It's been a while. Would have loved for them to circle number 12, get him into the end zone here. Instead, they go back to the traditional offense. They go with Flushing. He's still on his feet in the middle of the pile, and he's going to be down to the 1-yard line. Picks up 4. It's 3rd and goal from the 1 for the Cougars.
It's funny, when this drive started, I thought, well, 4:20 left in the second quarter. You do this right. You get points on the board, and you don't give the ball back. And then you've got Larson just busting up that big play to get him right down near the goal line.
50-yard scamper.
I mean, 3rd and goal. I feel like Flushing 2 more times, but that's always my opinion when you're this close. Trust him and the offensive line. This looks like the set where Zulk kept it earlier in the game.
O'Neal Jr. to the left. Larson's the motion man. They'll give to Flushing, and he is in. Touchdown, Cougars. Their 4th rushing touchdown, 3rd different ball carrier to hit the end zone. And they'll extend the lead to 28-7.
No surprises, right? I mean, other than the onside kicks, maybe. Other than that, it's the same guys who have been getting it all year. The same guys are getting big holes. They're getting bursts to the outside. They're getting good push in front, and they're following behind. 3 of them have been able to find the end zone tonight. Going for 2 again. They're just done kicking.
I hope Ricky Hemrick's okay. But he has been absolute money throughout the season. Larson, this time he'll go straight up the middle, and the Ponies not having it here. Off the left edge, and it was set right there by Logan McCormick, the linebacker in the hole. Flies in and makes the tackle.
Flushing getting the touchdown here, then the 2-point conversion missed by Larson afterwards. Here we go.
Still a 21-point lead.
So now you flip it to the other side, and 3:16 is enough time for the Ponies to make something happen. They would love to find some points before the end of this first half. Pull themselves within 2 touchdowns. Centennial's defense going to do everything they can to make sure that does not happen. So far, the Centennial on defense has been a bit quieter, but really, in my mind, the star for the most part, because they've forced 2 turnovers, and those turnovers have turned into points because the offense doesn't have to go as far down the field.
I wanted to watch that again because we talked about it at the time. That's the long 50-yard run for Larson that set it up. It was the same formation, just 2 wings. But they were so crisp off the ball. Again, as you said, there was misdirection all over the place, and you felt you had linemen pulling opposite sides.
But that's what they do all the time.
But it was shocking.
Wonder what's
so
on
yeah,
TV.
That's the form. That's what we see all the time. Tim O'Neal Jr. rolls.
Coming off the wing.
We've got the right guard pulling to this left side, flushing off the fake. And then the sharp plant of the foot, and up the field it goes for 50 yards. Hey, we got a somewhat normal kickoff that's returned out just past the 25-yard line. So 2 of those early for Dominic Krenz, and then the chicanery for the special teams unit for the Cougars. Now we've got a flag that flies after the play. Landed in the shoulder pad of one of the Cougars coming off the field. So we'll sort this out after the play ended back at the 29-yard line. This is, as mentioned, off the top, the Wayzata bracket. The number 1 seed to the Cougars number 2.
Oof,
personal foul on the Ponies.
Well,
so they still get that first down. It'll back them up inside the 20-yard line. Wayzata, Lakeville South, Champlain Park with the bye this week is the number 1 seed, and Totino Grace, the number 1 seed. They're a combined 28-4 this year, those 4 number 1 seeds, John. Wayzata is the only unbeaten.
And I think that's
that bunch.
A bit of a surprise. It feels like at the 6A level, there haven't been as many teams that have that air of invincibility about them. And I think that boosts the confidence of everyone else in the tournament.
You've got the number 2 line, Mounds View, Centennial, Lakeville North, and Eden Prairie, they're combined 25-7. So the record, I mean, it's three games different right there, wins and losses.
I love that you spent this afternoon adding those up.
As the Cougars sprint into the backfield, and Day trying to get the carry as the deep back, and he was tripped up. That'll be a loss back close to the 11-yard line. Spotted at the 12 for a loss of 2. And a timeout taken by the Cougars with 3:03 to go. Try and preserve that here.
They
Get a
want the ball
stop.
back.
Yeah, absolutely. They've scored in 3 minutes and 18 seconds, 2 minutes and 30 seconds, 3:15 and 1:04. And we've got 3:03 left in the quarter.
I mean, this feels like a team that has a lot of confidence, and they should against this squad, but a team that is already trying to make sure that they are ready for next week. And they're not looking past their opponent tonight. They're trying to punish their opponent on the way to what they hope is a rematch. I think they would love to play Edina again. These
And they
fans
get them here.
would love to see Edina come here because of how that first game of the season went and how they feel. And you were there. The officiating.
We weren't there.
You
I called
watched
the
it.
highlights. Yep. Yeah,
how
that was
the officiating was not in their favor and not unbiased, so
And
it
yet
went to someone
still-
else's favor.
And yet still, the Cougars almost found a way to pull that out on the road in week 1, losing 28-20. But yeah, you're right. They'd want some payback against the Hornets. Day will run. Day will find some space. Got good blocking down the field, and he's close to a first down. He's about a yard short, out to the 23-yard line. So we'll bring up a third down. Pickup of 11. 3rd and 1. They'll rush to the line. Vinsky will go under center. He'll sneak with it. And he'll tumble ahead right out to the 25, which is what he needed to pick up the first down. Cougars do have a couple of timeouts.
So they're not going to take one now. The chains move. I get what they were going for, and I feel like this is also a team that wants to put points on the board every opportunity. They'd love to see running time fourth quarter.
Well, especially if you get a negative play there on second down instead of that big run from Day, then you're really looking field position battle here. You play it out, 1st and 10 from the 25. Screen comes to Cullen on the near side. He's out to the 30 before he's gang tackled, stays on his feet and pushes ahead close to the 32-yard line. Pickup of 7.
O'Neal Jr. was the first guy there. He won't get credit for the tackle because he didn't bring the man down to the ground. He just slowed him up enough so that everyone else could get there and finish up the job. But as the pile formed, he then got back into it again. There's no quit for these Cougars.
He's got a handful there. His opposite number 4, Cullen, has had a touchdown grab at 5 of 7. Is that one incomplete? In and out of the palms of the receiver there with a minute 42 to pause it on the clock and bring up a 3rd down and 3.
Yeah, that was Richardson they were trying to go to again, and they've liked him throughout the course of the game, and not a surprise. Richardson, 10 catches coming into this game.
Cougars, 2 touchdowns to open up a 14-0 lead. 45-yard pass for the Ponies for their lone score, then back-to-back touchdown drives. The last 2 drives for Centennial to go back up by multiple scores, 28-7 right now. Running with Day. Day is not going to get there on a 3rd down and 3. It'll bring up a 4th. There's a timeout from Coach Diggins. With 96 seconds remaining in the half, they'll force the punt formation here on a 4th down and 3.
It took a couple extra plays longer than they would have liked, but the Cougars are going to get a chance with the ball, and we've seen how quickly they can score. I mean, what are the chances Larson ends up with the ball down the left sideline?
And we're talking about these top-line teams as the ones handed out earlier last week to Totino Grace, Champlain Park, who had the same Metro North record as the Cougars, but one more win overall. Wayzata, who we saw beat Blaine in the opener all the way back when, and Lakeville South got that big win over Lakeville North, and that flips the 1-2 scenario for the 2 rival schools down from the South Metro. Mounds View in tremendous years. Mounds View ended up number 8 in the latest 6A top 10. Basically, you've got the top 8. It is the top 8 of that 6A top 10 that end up on the top 2 lines there. Larson back to return this punt, standing at his own 37-yard line. Cullen booted away.
Good kick.
Angles it over the head of Larson. Gets a great Stillwater bounce. It's got to stop at some point if they can get down to it. It will roll inside the 5. I had visions of that being a really great kick, but just being a little too lax on the punt coverage. That was not the case. Cougars will be backed up at the 3-yard line.
So the Cougars, they take the early timeout right at the beginning of the Ponies' drive, thinking they're going to shut them down and get a punt. That doesn't work out. Then the drive does die, and they take another timeout to try and preserve the time. And the punt is near perfect to pin it inside the 5-yard line. Do the Cougars ever give up on thinking that they can make something happen here at the end of the quarter?
Zolk's going to be standing with his heels on his own goal line. He's got Larson as his deep back. O'Neal Jr. is going to go in motion. They'll give it to Larson, running off the right side, and he noses the football out to the 5-yard line to pick up 2. Cougars should have 1 timeout in their pocket here, and the clock's just going to continue to roll. You don't try to get too cute. Shadow of your own goalpost right here. But the Cougars are going to run plays. I mean, we've seen them break off 40 and 50-yard chunks already just on the ground.
Sure, but I like a straightforward approach there to the run game because, there's a lot of option, a lot of pitching, a lot of misdirection.
Carter Anderson.
Those are plays that happen in the backfield.
Carter Anderson averages 20 yards per reception. I don't know if you dial one of those up here on a 2nd down and 8.
Nice.
Under 46
Single
to play.
covered on the left side, a lot of room.
They're up at the line of scrimmage as Zolk take that snap, turn, give it to Larson. Larson bouncing around. No, excuse me, that's Carter Dose. Who comes on the near side, Justin Dose, excuse me. And a timeout's going to be taken this time by Stillwater to force them into a potential 4th down scenario, punting from back in their own end zone. So the Foo on the other foot right now. Dose got back to the line of scrimmage.
We'd like to give a special thank you to the boys basketball team and their supporters. It will help clean up the stadium after tonight's game.
When you pointed out Anderson, it wouldn't have occurred to me, but looking at him by himself out there, I just thought you could just try to go over the top.
Yeah, you need just a little time. Zolk on the drop back. He's proved to be very accurate.
Yep.
Again, when he does throw it, late in the year he did just dip below 50% on the completion percentage. Threw for 815, 8 touchdowns through the air and 4 picks. Just under 32 seconds remain. A 3rd down and 8. Larson in motion. They'll run it with Flushin. Flushin's bumped down before he can get to the 10. And so it will be a 4th down. The Ponies spin their last time out, and they'll make it a 4th down punting situation here. It's going to be 4th and a long 4.
When you talked about not getting too cute, you got to take care of the ball and give your punter some space.
Crucial point right here. Don't want to give any momentum. Of course, the Cougars do get the ball to start the 2nd half. Already up by the 3 scores. Things have gone according to script, except for the 145-yard pass play. Capped off a short 4-play drive for the Ponies that has their only score of the game. Otherwise, the Cougars forcing 2 fumbles, turning both of those into touchdowns. Missed field goal from 43 for the Ponies, turned that into a touchdown. And now here, just hoping to get this football away cleanly. Anderson is the kicker. The man deep is Eric Stack, the defensive back. Ponies want to bring the house. Back to Anderson. He does get it away. And Stack will take it, moving backwards at the 45. Fair catch it with 22 seconds to go. Just under that here in the half. Be at their own, or rather at the Cougar 46.
Good job by Stack to catch that line drive punt. He might have had a few yards if he wanted it. Fair catch caught me off guard because there's a lot of room out there. Even though he's backpedaling, it also, putting the hand up distracts you from what you should be focused on, getting your hands on that ball cleanly.
Still positive field position start past the 50. Vinsky, deep drop, deep ball, middle of the field, and it is tipped around and incomplete. Cullen looking for a flag, not going to get it, bracketed by a couple of Cougars and eventually knocked away by the combination of Tim O'Neill Jr. and Zach Osman.
He seemed surprised he didn't get one. I would have been surprised if he got a flag on this play. We can take a look at it.
It's a good ball. Right down the field. Oh, yeah, he got tugged. Yeah, real early on, O'Neill Jr. got a hair of that cloth on the right shoulder pad.
I don't think that deserves anything.
It's going to get the wide receiver to whip around, though, if it falls incomplete. Again, Vinsky fires. This one on the quick out to the far side and through the hands of the early on reliable Schlender. Incomplete for, make it just under 10 seconds remaining. 3rd and 10. Have another fling down the field for Vinsky, who just showed he can at least put the ball inside the 10 here.
Well, he's sure getting a lot of time back there.
Cougars dropping everybody back. 3-man rush, if that.
Third and 10, what do you think? Are they going to get these 10 yards, keep this drive alive?
Well, they have no timeouts.
No? Okay, you're
so, I mean, they did throw to the sideline right there. So, and now the play clock winds down.
No, timeout here by Centennial.
Cougars take a timeout.
I'm glad everyone got to use their timeouts.
You'd hate to take those with you, right?
Yeah.
No cash and prizes waiting at the locker room door for extra timeouts. You might as well spend them. And the Cougars, like we said, pretty much everything going according to script here over the first half. And you're going to go into the half unless something crazy happens here, John, and you're going to have this big 3-score lead. And like you said, they want to get to a point where they put it away early in the second. So the third quarter is still going to have that intrigue of whether or not the Cougars can put the hammer down.
I think that's why they wanted to get points at the end of this half to bookend the half. You know, scoring going into the half, scoring coming out of the half, since they're going to have the football. Oh.
As always, playoffs or otherwise, Umbria Pizzeria. It's not just a box, there's pizza in there too.
Well, I'm glad you brought that up, because you'll be eating that, but we will also at halftime be going through some highlights, look at some numbers from this first half of play.
You'll do it, I'll eat.
Okay. Wouldn't be the first time.
Out of the Cougar timeout. Won't be the last. Won't be the last. Although we're running out of pizza, Friday night pizza games.
It's true.
I mean, we pretty much get it for football. Taste and the memories.
So it'll just be a memory until next fall.
Vinsky angles it down, has Cullen. Cullen tries to wait and sidestep the defense, and he is tackled, and the ball comes away. The Cougars have it, looking for a bit of a convoy. Down the field goes Ankrum, and he is tackled just in opponent territory, and that's how the half will end. There is a flag down, though, so the half's still not done. This first half clinging to life here. Ankrum took it away. The flag, all intents would be after change of possession, you'd have to think there. So even if the Cougars lose yardage, they can just kneel on the football. And the Cougars, they're going to decline it, so the penalty won't matter, and the half will end. 28-7. The Cougars have a 3-touchdown lead. Got as close as 14-7 early in the second quarter. But the Cougars put their stamp on the latter half of the second quarter. We will have those highlights. We will have some analysis. And then we will have a second half. 6A football continues next. Cougars after one, 28-7.
Lino Lakes is the gateway to the metro area, just minutes north of Minneapolis and St. Paul. Conveniently located on I-35W, this growing city still maintains its North Country feel. Lino Lakes is a safe, fun, and affordable community that values its award-winning schools. Outdoor lovers will discover miles of hiking, biking, and water trails. Growing businesses will find premier development opportunities with great freeway visibility and ready to help your businesses grow. Come to live, work, and play in Lino Lakes.
Back here at the half, a 3-score lead for the Centennial Cougars in this 2-7 matchup of the 6A state tournament. J.W. Cox alongside John Haddon. Blythe Whaley's here, our entire North Metro TV crew. And John, the offense and the defense both showed up in that first half for the Cougars. A lickety-split first quarter that opened up with the defense. Clean strip. Ponies were driving, John. That was big to get the stop to turn into this Connor's own touchdown.
Well, it was Frank with the strip and the recovery of that fumble, and yet first points of the game off a turnover for the Cougars.
7-0 into the quarter. The Cougars would make it 14-0. Zolk's second run, this one from 11 yards out. This little bit of a scramble play that was nearly a pick six, and instead it's Nick Schlender takes it in, who made it a one-score game.
It was a 14-point swing, right? We thought that the Cougars were going to put 7 on the board. Instead, it was the Ponies who did so.
How about Noah Larson? Big first half for the senior tailback for the Cougars. He
Ton of
takes
yards.
That one in from 30. He'd have a 50-yard carry later. This fumble helped set that up as the Cougars got the Tim O'Neill Jr. recovery. And then it was 50 yards to the 5. And number 15, Austin Flushing, dumping it in for the fourth score of the half. 28-7. The Cougars have the lead at the break. And a big third quarter coming up where the Cougars will try and just run away and hide from the number 7 Stillwater Ponies. Come back and join us for that here with the 6A tournament tonight on North Metro TV.
Pecorino, Campidoglio, vino rosso, vino bianco, cappuccino, Rigoletto, Canaletto, Saccomano, Vaporetto, Portofino, Leonardo, Amaretto, Marco Polo, Parmigiano, Caravaggio, Arlecchino, Allegretto ma non troppo piano, piano, Bardolino. Viva, 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 viva l'Italia, viva l'Italia, viva, 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 viva l'Italia che mi va.
Cougars in the playoffs with a 28-7 lead going to the second half as they put up a touchdown in the first quarter to take a 7-0 lead, outscored the Ponies 21-7 in the second. You would expect to see this split. 219 on the ground for a total of 261 for the Cougars. Big 3 turnovers, including that last one late that really didn't net anybody anything, but they did rip the football away. And Tim O'Neill Jr. recovered another fumble in this game. Cullen's going to kick it. And the Cougars will start with the football. And John, again, last time they were here facing this team, their last playoff win came against the Ponies back in 2017. And they went up 30-0 to the fourth. Well, they certainly hope that that's at least the case going into the fourth here, already leading at 28-7. Boot to the near side towards Larson, trailing back at the 1. Waiting for the blocking to set up on the near side. Sprints past some defenders. Down the sideline he goes. He's looking to cut back and stay loose at the 45. Out of another tackle and needed to be one more shoestring grab to get all the way back to the 50 and maybe more. Larson, though, goes about 47 yards on the kick return to near it up to midfield.
Great work, right? It looks like he's going to start inside. Then he bounces it to the outside. Has some good blocking along the way. The spin move here to get some defenders off him. And I think if that ball is already in his left hand, he's got to palm out to stiff arm that last tackler, and he's gone.
Blythe Whaley's the third member of our crew, and she's downstairs. Blythe?
Yeah, thanks, guys. Getting to talk with Coach Diggins here before this second half, and he was telling me that, of course, this one is far from over, knowing that the Cougars just had a game here last week with this same score on the scoreboard coming into the second half. Gave up some touchdowns there, and so knowing that he needs his team to really hone this one in and get this one done. He's liking his team running their game and running the ball, and of course that is eating up some of this clock. That's what they want to do as this one rolls forward. Getting to talk with the Ponies, they're saying, of course, they're in this deficit. They can't just get stops, they also have to score. So what does that look like? They have some tricks up their sleeve, they say, so we'll see what happens here as we move towards the second half. Thanks, guys.
Oh, we're going to see more onside kicks.
Tricks up the sleeve. Thank you, Blythe. And we had a flag there on that first run for a hold, and that's going to push it back to the 34. I mean, come on, though. That's some tremendous reporting to get the coach to admit that there's tricks up the sleeve. Blythe getting it done down on the sideline.
It's Halloween time, right?
Flushing, and no, they give to Larson. He spins out of another low tackle as he passes the 40-yard line, picks up some of the penalty yardage. Back out past the 40. It'll be a second down and long. He's eventually brought down by Noah DeLeon.
Still 8 yards in the blink of an eye, it feels like, for Larson. Just great burst of speed for that young man.
Looking back at the Cougars, just the one pass. It was a big completion to Larson after.
That was an incomplete pass as well.
Zolk had rolled back. They did have the wide receiver screen, we're told, and now Zolk, a rare sack taken by the Cougars, and the Ponies pushing upfield. That's exactly the kind of thing they need, tricks or no. And it's Owen Pro who bursts into the backfield and brings down Zolk.
Pro-style defense, perfect. Let's see what kind of trickeration they use to get to the quarterback. Oh, wait, they just rush off the edge, and then the big man comes up the middle to finish the job on Zolk.
Zolk steps up. Cougars were looking to throw the football again. It would have seemed right there. Not the decision. Now, what you'd call a passing down, 3rd and 24. Cougars up by 21. Their first drive of the second half. They'll flank 3 wide receivers. Larson's in the slot left. They'll delay the draw to Flushing. Flushing stiff arms his way past one man. Stutter steps to the 40, and he's hemmed in right there. And the Ponies will make this first stop, a rally to the football for Hudson Day on that far side. Good pursuit out of the secondary. Flushing goes down as he got back out past the 40 on a gain of 5.
Well, it's a shame to see a drive that started with a beautiful kickoff return, gave them the ball at about midfield, go the opposite direction, and now the punt team is on.
Carter Anderson back to kick.
Really nice start to the second half for Stillwater area.
Eric Stack. So to get something returnable, it's a low kick. Anderson takes his time and booms it away from Stack and out of bounds. Yeah, that left turn at the 25.
That snap jumped twice on its way there, grazing in the grass.
So 9.5 remaining here in the third quarter. A herky-jerky start there to the second half, and that's certainly skipped there, as John mentioned, on its way. Anderson calm and collected, still pushing it off the inside of his foot there. But moves him back to the 25-yard line. First down and 10 for these Ponies. Proved early they could move the football into Cougar territory. Their fumble was at the Cougar 40-yard line. Scored a touchdown, missed a field goal where they drove down to the 20. Quick run off the right side. Day is ahead for 2 to bring up a 2nd and 8. Austin Flushing was in on the tackle, and it's Strading, rather, who's slow to get up. And they'll call for some help from the sideline.
I don't remember it being a problem in the past, but right now Sam Johnson working on his long snaps. That's what we talked about. It came in low, and he's right over to the sideline working on that action to make sure that he's good if they need to use that weapon again.
It up with the run. Strading was right there, and you just don't like a knee to bend that way, as the defender was marking him down to the turf there. Strading lunged for the tackle. Awkward motion. Strading 7 of 8 games with a tackle for loss. Double figures in total tackles in the first 6 games. He set the tone early on this defense that turned in to a big-time shutdown defense, averaging just 16.5 points per game, less than 260 of total offense per contest. And you hate to see that from Strading, certainly favoring that left leg.
Yeah, he was looking at 100 tackles, and he only needed 8 to get there in this game. Good chance he did get that far, but that's not the kind of thing that looks like the guy might come back later tonight.
Injuries were such a defining part of the Cougars season a year ago, a season that ended 3-6, including a loss blanked by Wayzata 45-0 in this round of the state tournament. They were working on 2nd and 3rd quarterbacks at that point after Zolk went down early in his junior year, midway through. Back to the action with just outside of 9 to go in the third, and a 2nd down and 8. Day set up as the tailback. They play fake to him. Cullen on the near side. It's Pearson with the pick. Jumped inside, and no, he let it go down to the deck as he tried to tumble in, secure it, but Pearson jumped right inside that route. He was looking for his 2nd interception of the year. And It was nearly his second of the game.
I was
Oh,
saying,
so close. Twice.
What a tease tonight, right? It looks like he's got 2 interceptions, and then they both slide through his hands in the end.
This one more in his hands, and he just can't keep it on his chest as he rolls over. 3rd and 8. Pauses the clock. Storyline in this game too, Vinsky in the play fake. He's been able to disguise some of that action. He'll fade it right side, looking for Richardson on the sideline, and it's overthrown into the Pony sideline.
Good 3 and out for the Cougar defense. It was disappointing for Centennial to have the Ponies do that to their offense. Well, he made an effort. Almost had that one.
Well, and it backs up the other thing that Blythe said too. They were looking not just to get the stops, that's great, but they need to turn that into points. So far, if this punt turns into just that, we'll give it right back to the Cougars. Time off the clock. Booted away. Larson has that one hot past him. Another great roll on a Cullen kick, and it's going to pin the Cougars inside the 20 at the 19-yard line.
Wow. 60-plus yards on that punt.
That's the Centennial Cougars. First down.
So the Cougars come back out, still looking for that first score of the second half. Kickoff, they had a penalty that set them back, ended up with a punt. 3-and-out stop with the defense. They didn't have the injury to Garrett Strading. Came off the field.
It's interesting because forcing fumbles had not been a huge part of what the Centennial defense had done earlier in the season. And in the first half, they're able to take the ball away 3 times on the fumbles.
Flushin will be the deep back. Tim O'Neill Jr. in motion. He'll give it to Flushin straight up the middle as he plows ahead towards the 25-yard line, looking for that tumbling forward block of Joe Boyd on the offensive line. Couldn't quite spring him. August Johnson, Sam Johnson on that line that we briefly touched on early, but when those guys can get out and run and get a good push, obviously that's what has driven this run game of the Cougars.
Absolutely.
Pick up a 5 to the 24.
Let's go, Ryan!
Boyd's the center, got his hand on the point of the football now. Back to Zolk, who will give it again to Flushin. This time he's tripped up right as he hits the line of scrimmage, and a good quick tackle to bring him down, Andrew Weber, but it's enough for a first down as he falls ahead. Flushin goes 6-1, and he lays out for this one to pick up the extra yardage. Good play as well right there in the hole by Joshua Paulson. Out to the 31.
Cougars' pacing hasn't changed much. I mean, they're up by 3 touchdowns, but just like at the end of the first half, it feels like they want more.
Same set, it's Anderson near side of the field as they'll snap from right in the dead middle. Larson hesitates as he hits the edge and then turns upfield. Looking for that block inside the tackle, eventually taken down by Weber. Now to the 37-yard line. Everything on the ground here in the second half, save for maybe that play that turned into a sack that was supposed to be a pass play. Talking about the decision-making of Zolk. Larson with the football in his hands once the play is developing, makes good decisions too on where he cuts. We saw that on his big 30-yard touchdown run. We saw that on the 50-yard run down to the 5.
6-yard pickup. I know you've got it there. I wonder how many runs of 5 yards or less than 5 yards the Cougars have had tonight. There's one.
Flushin.
It almost seems like, 6-8 yards is disappointing because of how big the runs have been for the Cougars throughout the course of this game.
Yeah, the expectation is there for more than that. That time the defensive front closes down. It was Paulson again right there in the middle to stop Flushin. Bring up this 3rd down and short. Call it 3rd and 2. Scoreless second half. Cougars had this 21-point lead at the break. Nearing the midway points of the 3rd quarter. Cougars yet to extend the lead. Credit the Ponies Picking up a stop on that first drive, forcing the third down here. Flushing will run, and he'll burst through the pile on the back end, and he's out to the 50-yard line before he's bent backwards by Gus Buechner.
Nice job to give him another yard on the momentum, and that puts them inside Pony territory.
Pickup of 13 down to the 49, and you'll see number 15 in black just come shooting through that pile. Hard yards for Flushing. The first 3 games of the season, 15 carries for 86 yards. The last 4 games of the regular season, 31 carries for 138 and a touchdown. Average 5 per carry on the year. They fake it to him, give to Larson around from the right to the left, and he'll push ahead for a first down pickup before he is dragged down from Nicholas Simpson, at the 38. And the Ponies have been susceptible to this, John, over the last several games. 340 plus per game, 5+ rushing touchdowns this season in 2 different games. And
that's why, if you were Stillwater area, this was the last type of opponent you wanted to see in the opening round of the postseason.
Flushing, patient off the right tackle, stays on his feet inside the 30, down to the 26-yard line. And a first down again for Austin Flushing. Picks up 12, just refuses to be stopped by an arm tackle.
You can see how the previous plays earlier in the game are forcing the defense. You know, the first man into the backfield wasn't even looking for Flushing because he's not expecting the handoff to go to the first man.
Play number 8 will make this the longest Cougar drive of the day as Flushing tries to bounce inside right there, and that time his forward progress stopped, and Anders Thoriger rocks him back at the 20.
Still, that's a 6-yard pickup. These running backs are moving the football upfield.
They'll mark him at the 21 to make it 2nd and 5. Zolk with a quick check over to the sideline. Back into the huddle. Now an 8-play drive. They scored on a 7-play drive that had been their longest. Their first of the game. Fake, Zolk wants to throw, steps back in a clean pocket, fires right side wide open. It's Larson, it'll hop into the end zone. Touchdown, Cougars will extend the lead with 4 to go here in the 3rd.
That looks like the play in the first half that I thought might have been a broken play when he danced away from the would-be tackler and threw it downfield to the right sideline. So here, he just steps back, has the space, and you want to talk about space. Larson all alone, standing in front of the pylon essentially. He makes the grab, and like you said, he hopped into the end zone. Oh, they're going back to the kicking game.
Hemrick.
It's good to know he's not injured.
Good to know he's back out there, and Ricky Hemrick goes 3 for 3 in PATs. And that will make it 35-7, a 9-play, 81-yard drive that took 4:46 off the clock. And the Cougars on the 21-yard touchdown pass. Connor Zolk through the air for his 9th touchdown pass of the season. Extends the Cougar lead here in the playoffs.
It's a good sling.
Well designed, well blocked up front.
And we say that, you know, when Zolk has a chance to pass, he's been accurate throughout the course of the year. It'd be interesting to see him in a different type of offense. However, he's been so effective on the ground. He's been so effective in operating this offense. And the offense is what has allowed this team to play well. So he might even be a good pass-first quarterback. But he plays within the system, and the system's working for the team. The Cougars well on their way into a 7th victory tonight if they can continue what they've done so far.
And those other options with the talent of Zolk may be what pays dividends for the Cougars as they move deeper into this tournament, level up in competition, maybe show the Hornets potentially next week something that they didn't see all the way back in week number 1, though they did throw the football quite a bit. That's where some of the drama came in, as this kickoff is going to go out of bounds. About the only type of activity we hadn't had on a kickoff. It'll go out of bounds. Draw the penalty. Lane Bengals had a lead when we were at the half. Taking on Woodbury. 6-3 matchup.
Of course.
I mean, I know we saw the Bengals have their struggles against the Cougars, against a number of teams, against Totino Grace. But it wouldn't shock me if the Bengals did find a way to get a win. Just like it wouldn't shock me that that's the best hair in 3 counties with respect to Alex Zappa. Noah Larson feeling it on all fronts, and down goes the quarterback in the arms of the Cougar defense. Their second sack of the game, and it's Isaiah Bettinger who picks it up.
I mean, you said feeling it from all sides, and Bettinger got there as the second man, and he made the hit or wrapped up around the legs to get the sack. There was another Cougar player who got in even quicker to the backfield to force the quarterback to step up right into Bettinger.
5-yard loss, 2nd and 15 coming up. Clock spins, under 3.5 to play, 3rd quarter. Cougars up 28. Vinsky drops back. Edges collapse again. He steps through it, fires to an open man on the sideline. He had Schlender. A little too high. Stops the clock on a 3rd and 15 with 3:13 remaining.
He really feels comfortable with Schlender, and early on that looked like a great pairing between the two. Since then we've seen a couple of passes, and this is not typical fullback route. Not usually looking for your fullback to rise up and catch that one above his head deep downfield while he's backpedaling.
So a 3rd and 15 from their own 30-yard line. 4 wide receivers. Day stays in to block as the Cougars bring the pressure, and that'll be incomplete. As Vinsky was wrapped up once again by Zach Frank as he let that one go.
What a night Frank is having. Frank and Bettinger on that defensive line have
They
been
will throw the flag
outstanding.
late, John. And this could be the intentional grounding, but you're absolutely right. That defensive line, they just get down and go eat.
Which is great to see. Strating is out right now. You know, the top linebacker, one of the best blitzing linebackers they have. Intentional grounding is the call. And so to see them get even better pressure just with that front 4 than they had previous in the evening. Really nice work.
Nobody there but linemen still in the pocket, so they'll lose the down and the distance. And the ball will be all the way back to the 13-yard line.
Larson waiting at midfield. Let's see if they can avoid this bouncing.
Cougars trying to get one man in there. Larson will let it bounce. They won't avoid it.
I mean, he was right there. I don't know if there's a lack of confidence in catching the ball. It felt like it was lofted a little bit more than some previous ones. I mean, he could have saved 20 yards by just fair catching that ball.
Under 3 to play. Possession, what the Cougars play for instead. But yeah, they give up.
But I think I know his
yards.
game plan. That's 15 yards he can't get on the ground.
That's a good point.
So.
That's a good point. Noah Larson continues to roll the 30-yard touchdown run, the 50-yard run to set up a touchdown. More scrimmage yards with a 21-yard touchdown catch on the last drive. Flushing's got a touchdown, and Zulk had the first 2. He's going to roll out to the right, looking to throw again, keeps the play alive, and it was just wide of the grasp of Carter Anderson.
Anderson's the other player. I mean, we talked about how Zulk, might be a good pass for his quarterback. Anderson and a more pass-heavy offense
for sure
would have a ton more production than he has. But again, he plays within a system. It's a successful system, and it's easier to work within that role. And, his role does draw the defense to the sidelines. He gets in there for blocking downfield. Just because he's not catching passes all the time doesn't mean he's not an effective part of the team.
Well, you have to respect that he can get down the field and be an option, so there's at least one guy you have to commit there. Zulk's going to keep spinning off the left edge, spinning around. put himself in that spin cycle and pushes for a first down out to the 39-yard line.
It just feels like he's had a lot less carries than we've
Oh.
seen in some previous games. He's felt really comfortable letting everyone else get the yardage tonight.
Well, a lot of that, as we talked about right off the top, that's coming off the read. He's doing that, and if a team's going to scheme to shut Zolk down, as he came into this game with 372 yards on the ground over his last 3 games and 5 touchdowns, 8 yards per carry. Yeah, you're going to try and scheme and make him give it up. He's found the right guys with space. Larson, Flushing, O'Neal a couple of times. And that's the first procedural penalty we've had on the Cougars. I think Zolk and Dose were ready for that play to start, but nobody else was. So that'll lose them 5. Back to the 34-yard line.
Felt like they were moving downfield pretty smoothly. Just got to disrupt that flow.
First penalty of the half on the Cougars. Actually, that's their second, excuse me. They had that big holding penalty on their first possession. Turned it into a punt. Clock spins again. Dose goes in motion. Zolk wants to throw. Short drop. Looking for Anderson. Anderson, the adjustment. And is that intercepted? It is. It went off the shoulder of Anderson into the hands of Andrew Schoenecker. And Schoenecker, as that one was just underthrown, makes a play for the Ponies with 1:54 to go in this third.
Anderson having that come on him on the opposite side of what he was looking for.
Left shoulder and settled it down just enough for Schoenecker to have it drop into his arms. That is the
Good
5th interception for Zolk.
Good tight defense. You stick with them, good things happen. It was gift wrapped for Schoenecker.
From the 32, quick slant, right side, incomplete. Cullen, the coverage from Tim O'Neal.
Good job by O'Neal. Timed that perfectly. It looked like he was trying to get to the ball as an interception, but what ended up happening is he ran into the receiver right as the ball got there, disrupted any opportunity for a catch.
They will fake it today, roll to the right. Frank is in pursuit again, and that ball out with Frank laying a hit on Vinsky, and it's too strong.
Well, there are at least 2 Cougars who had a better chance at that ball than any offensive player did for Stillwater area. So I think if you're the Ponies, you're happy that one fell without being caught.
Started in the low 50s. We've dropped a bit down to 47 here in the second half.
Still a warming trend compared to the last couple of weeks of football.
3rd down and 10. Vinsky gets the snap, and there was a lot of stuttering, halting, and restarting there on the line of scrimmage, so they will blow this one dead for the procedural penalty. Well, that'll push him back 5 more, 3rd and 15. Dumped off short. As Day's going nowhere, the Cougars sniffed that one out. Quickly right to the ball was Brandon Royka. Had a big first half. Another pressure from Frank to force that dump off. Royka had the ankle of Day before he could even start to turn upfield. That'll take us under a minute to play here in the 3rd quarter. Let's see what Larson has off this Cullen punt again. He's got tremendous bounces every time. This one, Larson catches it in his chest, runs away from the first man, and he's wrapped up, but Johnny saved.
Was that Pearson this time?
You're right, it is Pearson. So Pearson goes out, makes the catch. Good call.
Yeah, nice job by him. And again, just because of the way the ball had been bouncing when it was punted by the Ponies, if you make that catch, you've already saved 15+ yards.
And he ran it back 6 yards.
Gets a couple extra, going forward. Now, the thing that occurs to me, you're down 35-7. The season is over if you don't win tonight, if you're in the Stillwater area. At what point, even if you're backed up, are you going for it on 4th down? Because it wasn't there.
And
only 12 minutes
15,
left once the quarter's over. And
at some point, I guess
4 touchdowns. So, I mean, it seems like somewhat of a white flag.
High formation this time, and I think that had the Cougars a little out of sorts with what they wanted to do. So they'll take a timeout.
Again,
get an early jump on spending those.
Well, there's that, but if you take one here and it results in the play that you want, and you can get down the field and you score the points that you're looking for in this drive, then you'll make up for that time getting your guys into the locker room with a running clock later. And I think the offense is still out there, you know, the mainstay starters, so they're looking for it.
We've seen some positive things, too, from some of these bigger win games for the Cougars.
Oh, yeah.
From that second offense.
Yeah.
Driving the football at Anoka in week 2. Cougars started winning 2 of their first 3, lost to an eventual #1 seed in this tournament, Totino Grace. It was a 27-19 game. 2 8-point losses on the season, rattled off 4 straight wins, including at Blaine, home against then number 10, St. Michael Albertville. Actually, then number is in the top 5, St. Michael Albertville. Zolk fakes off the edge, streaking in space to the 50, bouncing off tacklers into Pony territory. At the 48-yard line, he gets the first down.
You know what he is? He's right in between Flushin and Larson. I mean, he's right in between their running styles.
Yeah.
He's a little faster than Flushin is, but he's still got the finishing strength more than Larson does.
Just because of the build. But you're absolutely right. He'll bounce it, still finish those runs like Austin Flushin does, and that run will finish the quarter. We'll go to the 4th with the Cougars up by 28. They had the only touchdown of the 3rd. They'll try to close out a first-round win. 35-7, Centennial leads to the 4th on North Metro TV.
Pecorino, Campidoglio, vino rosso, vino bianco, cappuccino, Rigoletto, Canaletto, Saccomano, Vaporetto, Portofino, Leonardo, Amaretto, Marco Polo, Parmigiano, Caravaggio, Arlecchino, Allegretto ma non troppo piano, piano, Bardolino. Viva, 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 viva l'Italia, viva l'Italia, viva, 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 viva l'Italia che mi va.
Delicioso first 3 quarters for the Centennial Cougars as they have put the Ponies in a 28-point deficit here. 1st and 10, just past midfield to open up the 4th. Zolk and company still out there. Is that Carter Zolk? They have pushed it back to Sam Petraszewski to run the reins of the things here in the 4th quarter, and it is Petraszewski, and he'll hand it off to Griffin Weber. So this is that second-team offense we talked about, and Weber pushes it down to the 45. So taking the cue from what you were talking about, John, with the way they punt, backed up, even down multiple scores. And here comes the second-team offense. So you'll see a lot of Griffin Weber. You'll see a lot of Justin Dose on those wing spots, normally occupied by O'Neal Jr. and Larson and Sam Petraszewski.
Well, in one way, this has already been a costly game because Strating injured himself, and we don't know the long-term repercussions of that. But you've got the scoreboard heavily in your favor. There's no reason to put more of your regular players at risk, and this, of course, gives opportunity to some other folks. And
Dominic Ziprich is that other wing, by the way, on the near side. And
you mentioned it earlier. This is an offense that has had success even with this unit on the field, so it's not impossible to think that they could add to The already 35 points put up by the first team tonight.
Yeah, they iced the game at Blaine. They iced the game at Anoka. Late drives. I don't think in either of those games, though, John, they hit the end zone. So I'm sure they'd love to do that here in the postseason game as Petraszewski will give back to Weber. He'll push back past the original line of scrimmage to the 46.
There is a size difference when the second unit comes in. That jumps out to you right away.
Starts up front with Petraszewski. Can still make up for that by making the right decision. Gives to the diving back right there to make it 3rd and 8. Ponies crouching near the line of scrimmage. Petraszewski will give again. Webster stays on his feet, and he's still stymied at the 40-yard line. He's going to be 2 yards short. Weber, excuse me.
4th down, nobody's leaving the field.
Positive territory. You're hoping you can get 2 yards of offense. Look at this move to keep his feet. That's leg day right there, John. Griffin Weber.
Well, that's what comes with having a little less size, right? Just squat down quick, let them go over the top.
Zimprich in motion, and they drew him off sides. So as long as everybody was still for the Cougars, and that looks to be the case, get the 1st down off the penalty. How about that? The young Mr. Petraszewski.
Well, moving the ball, keeping it with the offense, allowing that clock to move. The Cougars are just fine with the results of that penalty.
Already under 10 to play. A look at the jump, left side of that defensive line as they look at it. Into the neutral zone. Sam gives it a check and says, yep, did our job. 1st and 10. Zimprich will get the carry. He runs right into the arms of the defensive tackle on the right side. Tried to slip outside of the block of Christian Comstock. Timing just wasn't there, and timing is something that has to get there with repetition and game speed that the second team offense just won't have on the loss of 2.
I'm sure there's that, but the defense is pouring through the line in a way that we didn't see in the first 3 quarters. So it's not just one person that's having some struggles.
Yeah, differences on the offensive line. Jared Schultz is in there at the center spot. So they're getting those big guys up front. The breaks as well.
And they should, you know.
Absolutely. Give to Weber this time. And like John said, the defense flying around there off the edge. Guess and run every time, and you're likely going to be right every time in this particular offense. It'll bring up a 3rd down and long.
What's interesting is, you know, most of the Centennial players that are on that first team, you know, they're not sitting down, relaxing. They're all up with their helmets on, watching from the sideline, taking it in, paying attention to what's happening.
Mason Lindsay checks in. He'll be wide to the left in that Carter Anderson type spot. Catch in week 1, a catch in week 4. 3rd down and long. They'll run it again with Weber, and he'll push it inside the 35. Still be a 4th down and long here.
Yeah, quick 5 yards, but they were already in a deep situation. So the punt team comes on.
It's even the 2nd punt unit.
This is when you have to count them to make sure you got the right guys out there.
I at first didn't see Carter Anderson, which led to their comment, but he is going out there, so they don't have a 2nd punter.
Yep, here we go. Let's add one more guy. There he is.
I'd rather be one short, right? I mean, theoretically, at least you're not guaranteed a penalty that way. Good snap, back to Anderson. Lazily
really
walks
took
into
his
it.
time.
And he
Great
pins
punt.
that one inside the 10. That's exactly what you needed right there. Short field to work with. Angles it to the sideline and hops it inside the 10 with just inside of 7:15 to go.
That might be the most nonchalant punt I remember.
Once he saw there was no rush.
All right, there you go.
And he flings it down inside the 10. So a punt.
Several minutes taken off the clock by that offensive unit.
Well, they started with 40 seconds left in the third, running down to 7:14 here in the fourth. So a good 5+ by that second unit taken off the clock. First down carry out to the 14. Ponies continuing to fight. They had those 2 late touchdowns in 2017 in this matchup. Early touchdown that made it a 1-possession game. Cougars have never looked back. They've scored the last 3 touchdowns. Vinsky rolling out to the right, dropping it down short, and it's incomplete, looking for a tight end. Could not find Nathaniel Simsick. Incomplete, stops the clock, 3rd down and 7.
Get the roll for Vinsky, just off the fingertips of his intended target. It's kind of curious. They ran on first down with Day, even though passing has been by far superior, and if it's an incomplete pass, it stops the clock. So if you were hoping to keep the game going and extend it out, you would think pass, 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 especially with a lot of the first teamers getting some time off.
That one in and out of the hands of Richardson. Incomplete will bring out a 4th down and 7. They're backed up again, and again, here will come the punt unit. A lot of traffic on its way to Richardson, and he can't haul it in.
Still, the ball got to him. I mean, that's Vinsky put it where he needed to. Disappointing that it glanced off of 2 receivers on the last 2 passes he made.
Fortunately, Vinsky is 0 for 7 in this second half. Through the air, just not connecting the way he did early in the first. This punt zeroes in on the middle of the field, takes a high hop. And then the return man this time is Michael Schneider, and he just runs away from it there, and it does bounce back inside the 35 to the 33.
I mean, the punt average has got to have skyrocketed tonight. He's got the roll every time, just Cullen.
Closing it out well with the net. So we'll see the second team offense again for the Cougars. Blaine Bengals last check, yeah.
They're on top, but haven't seen a final come through on that one.
Looking for the winner of Lakeville North and Hopkins.
You don't think that Lakeville North?
To be North?
Yeah.
35-7 here. There's Weber up the middle, pushes out to the 35-yard line. Come up on 6 minutes to go.
It's interesting watching this second unit run the same plays that the first unit does and not seeing obviously the same success. It just shows what kind of athletes the top line runs out there, the size, the speed.
Weber.
Nowhere.
Taken down immediately for a loss of 1, back to the 34-yard line. Look at the current bracket here. Eastridge, Osseo, and then the game of notes, Edina Eastview. That's narrow.
Yeah, for the 6th seed to be that tight.
20-19, so no guarantees. The Hornets-Cougars matchup. Cougars holding up their end right now. We'll see if that happens for week number 2 of the postseason.
Space.
No, right side. Goes Zimprich. Zimprich, the afterburners. Zimprich will put a capper on this one. Dominic Zimprich, his first carry off that left wing. And he scampers his way.
Zimprich and the whole offense makes me eat my words, right? Oh, they're running the same plays, but I just don't think they can do what the first team offense can do. And a little misdirection. You couldn't follow the ball. It's a little tougher. The players are smaller. It's hard to see what's going on down there. And then he just bursts out, and all of a sudden, the hole is enormous. And some speed on that kid.
He closed that out with the speed. 66 yards on the scamper. Hemrick will We'll have this one blown dead as he popped it up and through. And that's got to feel great for all those special second teamers, rather, to open up that hole. And they'll have to kick this again. The Cougars wanted to decline the penalty because it went through them, but they blew it dead before the actual kick. They're still going to decline it. Just keep it at the normal extra point range. Cougars all lobbying that they should have just let that play through, and they could have kept the points. Low snap, and now they'll have to make something out of nothing, and they don't get the points off the penalty as it never got away. So it's 41-7.
I wonder how many times those guys have talked about, hey, if it's a low snap and we're not going to get off, what are we going to do? And it didn't look like they'd ever chatted about it before on that one.
Dominic Zimprich right there, streaking across your screen, left to right, turns the corner. I don't know that he was touched, John.
Just great space, right? I mean, the blocking was there to open things up.
Still pulling away,
right,
as he hits the tape at the goal line.
And I think that's smart, right?
Absolutely.
Don't look around, don't worry, just put it down. Put your head down and run as fast as you can into the end zone.
That's your chance. And Dominic Zimprich makes the most of it. This team was fired up for the wing backer. There's some of those starters to greet him on the sideline.
Might find a sticker on his helmet after this week. It's not going to be as clean as it once was.
So a brief drive. We were thinking that one could scrub down the clock. Those 67, 66 of it on the run for Zimprich. Just a few seconds off the clock to make it 41-7.
So Weber, Zimprich, I mean, even more guys running the ball.
Ponies lose the football on the sideline. Did the Cougars keep it in and recover? And that's not going to be the call. It's going to stay with the Ponies. It did hop out of bounds. So 4:52 to go. Stillwater with the football. This one, the Cougars putting the hay in the barn here early in the fourth.
Ponies, you would think, I mean, under 5 minutes to go. Run, run, run.
They'll run with the up back, Schlender. And the Cougars, you get some second team defenders in there too.
Yeah.
Continue to push it back. Good tackle, sprinting into the hole. Play set up by Luke Whitner.
Sticking with pretty basic I formation.
Vinsky's going to air it out deep. Has a man at the seam. It's Cullen who makes the catch. The ball pops out late, and they'll say incomplete. Okay. That was a long way into the air as it popped out of Cullen's arms.
I mean, if he doesn't get hit by the defender, he hauls that in and maintains the possession. But
I thought he
as
also
it was in his
had
hands,
it anyway.
yeah, I mean, it was that close. Gets it. He didn't have it for
through
very
the arms,
long.
and then he just kicked it off. So it looked cooler in the end. Linsky under center again. It'll be 3rd and 8. Day left side, and he'll get the generous spot for the first down. Day off the left side. He's got a first down and more as we drop under 4 minutes to go. And the Ponies, just like the sentiment with the second team offense of the Cougars, they're not leaving anything out on the field here late, despite the score and the decided nature of this one. Your day, senior, a few more snaps of high school football coming your way. Play fake it to him, stays in the block. Vinsky flings it down the field, looking for another senior, and a layout grab for a touchdown by Richardson. And the senior picks up his second touchdown catch of the year. And they'll put another 6 on the board.
Something to ease the pain of the season coming to an end. Big, exciting play, and what a layout there by Richardson. And not just that, but as he's falling to the ground, he gets his hands on the ball and he reels it in and secures it so it doesn't pop out once he lands in the end zone.
Had a season high, 3 receptions for 56 yards and a touchdown last week. Picks up a score to help him on to a 41-14 tally with 3.5 to go here in the fourth quarter. Good drop back for Vinsky. No chance for the defender to get there. Benjamin Lee was running just a step behind him. And that ball laid out for the big, tall receiver.
So now if you're the Cougars, only goal is to keep this ball and keep the clock going.
Maple Grove, Prior Lake, Mounds View all getting victories tonight.
So you got a lot of starters on the special teams unit. Hands unit, it looks like, because everybody's up except for Larson standing back near the 25.
3.5 left in this game. Cougars trying to secure the football here. And it will just be a deep kick.
Out of bounds.
It'll go out of bounds, shy of the pylon.
He's got that whole field essentially to kick it towards. He seems to be trying to get it away from Larson.
First down.
That popcorn box says fresh, but with 3.5 left in one of the last games of the year, do you think it's still fresh?
She's enjoying it.
All right. Somebody with a sunny disposition on life and popcorn.
I mean, I'm always a little happier when I have popcorn.
It's true. You've been known to eat stadium popcorn with great enthusiasm. Who are we to say? Out to the 35 with this second team Cougar offense. 41-14. Give it to Dose. Looking for that set of the edge. Had to make one man miss. Little stutter step there and runs into the arms of the man who was popping off the block. Stays inbounds. Dose is brought down by Sam Kevapalu.
You said it stays in bounds, right? I mean, he's running towards the sideline. He's trying to find that edge. But even though there might have been a little bit more room further to the outside, he cuts it before he gets there to make sure the clock keeps rolling.
Fun to be a Cougar fan.
And the difference between 45 degrees and 35 degrees. Last couple of weeks, everyone's huddled up. Nobody's moving, just waiting for time to run out. And here, everyone's out enjoying themselves.
There's 3 left. Quick dive, 2 hands on the football for Weber. Bring up a third down. Third down and short. Clock spinning at 2.5. Pick this up, certainly one more, but probably just this one, and you can ease the rest of the time off this scoreboard here at Centennial High School.
What do you think, Zimrich? Is that who Blythe is going to grab after this one?
Scores like the icing touchdown.
We've talked to Zulk and some of those guys before. Or how about the night that Zach Frank had on the defensive line?
Go with defensive guys. That could be wide open too. Zach Frank. First half, a lot of tackles for Brandon Royka. Frank is a representative of that defensive line.
Yeah, him and
with a good
Bettinger,
game.
yeah.
Here's the Cougar relieved that this first-round matchup wins, according to the chalk here. Cougars will fight next week. Motion man, Petraszewski gives to the up man, Weber. Pushes into Pony territory. They'll have to do it twice more. So just once more. And they will move their record to 7-2. Cougars, as you look at state tournament play, they won back-to-back first-round games in 2016 and 2017. They are 4-9. This will make them 5-9 in their last 14 playoff games. Have never won a second-round game in the current format. Last went deep to that Prep Bowl round back in the old sectional format back in 2009.
First down.
Weber picks up the first down. And he runs out of bounds with 47 seconds left. Cougar fans happy. Move the sticks. And one more snap now coming up. About a 14-second differential between the play clock and the game clock. Cougars, the furthest they went, the 1984 championship game, runners up. 2 years after Coach Diggins graduated from Centennial. Last time the Cougars got that close to the mountaintop. They hope they've got the defense, the offense, the formula to get it done this year. Step one is complete. 41-14 is the final. Cougars hold home serve, and as the 2 seed, they take care of the 7 seed. They will play on with a 7-2 mark here in 2019. We'll be back to wrap it up after this on a 41-14 Cougar victory. You watched it all right here on North Metro TV.
Share new perspectives with North Metro TV. Capture breathtaking cinematic images. Business exteriors, scenic landscapes, sporting events, or community images. With a professional videographer at the controls, North Metro TV will tailor a package for your budget. For high-quality photo and video aerials, contact North Metro TV.
Cougars win it 41-14 is your final, and an exuberant student gathering greeting their heroes as they go wire to wire against the Stillwater Ponies. And some of the victors are downstairs with our own Blythe Whaley. Blythe?
Yeah, very excited to talk with these guys here on the field. We have next to me first is Noah Larson. Noah, of course, we want to talk to you. Having 2 of these touchdowns here in this 41-14 game. Can you talk to me about what that was like to be able to score in this section game?
Yeah, I mean, it feels amazing. Obviously, all credit to the line. They worked their butts off all week, and all credit goes to them. I couldn't do it without them.
Yeah, so as we talk about, I mean, being open and being able to have that vision. I know JW up there in the press box was talking during the broadcast, just your vision really on the field to find those gaps. What has that been like over the years to be able to get better at that and find those open spaces on the field?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's I guess it's kind of instinctual, but it's also putting in work over the summer and lifting in the summer and getting better. So, yeah.
Yeah, and so the other thing I wanted to note was, obviously, you got the 2-point conversion here today. What does that feel like going further in this section tournament, knowing, hey, you can get that done if you need to?
It feels amazing. I feel like I can do anything with that guy leading my way, so thank you.
Awesome. Well, so fun talking with you. Good luck the rest of the season.
Thank you. Thanks.
Well, of course, we have Austin Flush in here next to me. Austin, so fun to see you play today. Of course, getting one of these touchdowns here on the board. What did that feel like to be able to knock that one over the line?
Oh, it was great. The boys really rolling tonight. We were just firing at all levels, and we played great.
So let's talk about your consistency. Having that average 6 yards on those rushing plays that you have. So what does that look like for you just to have that consistency over the season?
It's just all the offensive line. They get all the credit, moving guys down the field. It makes it easy for me.
What does it look like? I mean, we're going forward here in this section tournament. How awesome does this feel being a senior that you get to move forward?
It feels great. We're just playing for a ring. We're ready to go to the bank.
Let's go. Well, very fun, exciting, Austin. Thanks for talking with us.
Thank you.
Okay, we have Dominic. Dominic, so exciting. Okay, to talk with you about this, you get to come in here late in this one and show your speed racing down the field for a very long run and a touchdown. What was that like to be able to get in and get one for your team?
It was amazing. Got a little taste of what it's like, and yeah, it was amazing. Yeah.
Well, yeah, being a junior here, I mean, you get to step on the field here in a section game and get to experience kind of that atmosphere of what this is like here on the field. How awesome is this to know, hey, your team's moving forward, some chances here maybe as we move forward, but also, you know, in next year.
Yeah, it's a great feeling, and I think we got a good group of guys, and I think the next grade up is going to be good too, and we're all, you know, a good family, and we all bond together, and, you know, we can just trust each other whenever, and yeah.
So Dominic, has your speed always been something to note? Because I feel like today you went off with all engines firing.
Yeah, I've always been a little fast, but yeah.
Well, very fun to see today. Well, thanks so much for talking with us. Good luck the rest of the way, guys.
Thank you.
Well, how fun to see this one. The Cougars get the victory moving on in this section tournament. But everyone, you know, have a great night. This was a fun one here on the field.
Thanks a lot, Blythe. 41-14 is the final, and the Cougars will move their way into the second week of the 6A state tournament. Keep it tuned. North Metro TV, we've got you covered for all of your postseason sports din as well. First runs coming your way on Monday for all the highlights and everything you need to know. For John, for Blythe, for everyone with North Metro TV, I'm J.W. Cox. Cougars win. Number 7 of the year. Punches them one step closer to going deep in state. 41-14 your final. You watched it all right here on North Metro TV. Good night, everybody.